If you're a keen observer of the ad and marketing world and wish to be hands-on with the latest happenings and trends of Brandland, you're at the right place. This is Brandstand and I'm your host P. Karunya Rao, and we're back with yet another exciting episode. Let's get started and take a look at what we have for you this week. Will 6-second ads be a success on television? And a rendezvous with General Mills may not Dhar. Here's a look at the top news of the week gone by. Zee Digital Convergence has unveiled a new avatar of Ditto TV. With the tagline as Desh Ka TV, it promises to make live television available via any device, phones, tablet or personal computers. The live TV platform that allows viewers to watch their favorite programs at the time of broadcast was originally launched in 2012. The app in its new avatar allows users to access 100 plus Hindi, English and regional language channels encompassing general entertainment, sports, movies, news and lifestyle. Meanwhile, it has appointed Infectious as its communication partner along with awarding the creative mandate to the agency. The agency will also be responsible for all the marketing and communication requirements of Ditto TV. Market research industry veteran Prashant Pandey has taken charge as President South Asia of Nielsen India. In this role, he'll be responsible for leading Nielsen's business operations in India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka. Basu has been heading operations of Millward Brown as MD South Asia from April 2013 till this announcement. He has previously held senior roles within research and consulting organizations covering both developed and emerging markets such as the US, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia and South Asia. According to reports, Piyush Mathur, who led Nielsen operations in India from 2010, has now moved on as Senior VP at Westport, Connecticut. O&M has launched a new report that identifies 12 velocity markets that will be key to middle-class consumer growth over the next decade. With the BRIC index of markets having outlived its usefulness, Ogilvy's new ranking provides a fresh perspective on the future of global growth and challenges some of the outdated notions about emerging markets. The 12 velocity markets identified a shift to South Asia as the epicenter of future middle-class growth, centered principally in India but inclusive of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Indonesia and the Philippines, and extending up to China and to Egypt, Nigeria, Mexico and Brazil in other direction. The Velocity 12 market represents a vast arc of future growth. Maxis announced the appointment of Vivek Ballabh as the General Manager, Maxis Digital for North India. Vivek joins Maxis from Chail India and brings with him extensive experience in digital marketing and branding. With a career spanning 14 plus years, his body of work also includes working with several Fortune 500 brands like HP, Samsung, Make My Trip, Maruti Suzuki, Axis Bank, Dabur and Airtel among others. Depending on when you're viewing this, the 63rd International Festival of Creativity, better known as the Cannes Lions, would have concluded or getting set to down curtains. This year, 43,101 entries were received for the awards as compared to 40,133 received last year. India sent 1,315 entries, up from the 1,035 of last year. Last year, India received 15 lions, down from 33 and 27 in 2013 and 2014 respectively. As on 23rd June, there is one Grand Prix for Mindshare India in the Glass Lions category. Medulla bagged the Healthcare Agency of the Year with as many as 7 lions, 2 of which were gold. Mindshare India bagged the Grand Prix for Glass Lions for the 6-pack band, a branded content campaign for Hindustan Unilever's Brook Bond Red Label tea. This is the second consecutive year where an Indian agency has won a Grand Prix in the Glass Lions.
This is the first time ever a media agency is winning a Grand Prix at Glass Lions, right? This means so much to us that it just encourages us and motivates us for some of the new things and the inventive products and framework that we have been putting on our Content Plus as a separate focus, where our content team is working on getting some newer products, newer partnerships, a better ecosystem so that we're able to bring in more and more precise solutions and also bring in the aspect of clutter breaking creativity on how we do it. Fundamentally, when we see that, and it also reassures that some of the actions that we have done like Content Day, Content Plus different frameworks have actually started resulting on some good recognition for the work that we do.
Given a fragmented viewing public, marketers and media agencies are increasingly deploying 6-second bumper ads to grab attention. I spoke to a cross-section of industry leaders to find out whether advertisers are indeed being able to reduce wastage in spends through these, and if brands are able to communicate effectively with the consumers despite the short length of the ads. In 2016, going mobile isn't a strategy, it's a starting point. With mobile usage skyrocketing and most mobile users accessing internet every day through their devices, the question is how to get the best return from your campaign and reduce the amount of media waste. Which is why media, especially digital platforms, are introducing shorter ad slots and what YouTube calls bumper ads, which are 6 seconds long. These 6-second ads are no longer restricted to the digital platform. The trend is catching on to television as well, as more and more advertisers are realizing the need for short pieces of communication.
As the consumer is now moving from one medium to the other, and it's no longer about just one medium but actually both medium overlapping each other, something like this, a short format, is a natural transition to happen on yet another platform, which is really another screen. So therefore with this, what would happen is that consumers can see your messaging yet again in a different format and in a shorter format, which gives you frequency.
Even though the quantity of time they're spending on the mobile and smartphones, etc. is a lot, that is not to say that they're spending a lot of time seeing advertising. It's becoming very, very challenging because people's attention spans are so much limited. I like what Facebook is doing, the Facebook business, that if you catch me early, you stay with me, So you catch me fast, catch me in the first 5 seconds.
Mobile and digital is increasingly personal space, and consumers are not okay with looking at many ads. So that's where long ads, strict no-no. So that's where small formats are much more effective. So before the consumer has a time to say, okay, I don't want to view this, I'll rather skip this, the message has been delivered.
For an extremely fragmented viewing public, ads can be a nuisance. And that's why this short and sweet approach is being looked at as an effective strategy to grab eyeballs. Because if short videos can work well on YouTube, so should shorter ads, right?
और वो मास्टर जी एंड फैमिली
ये पिज़्ज़ा है या इटावा?
If videos are short, right, that means they are lighter, and therefore they open an opportunity for you to go into low-end smartphones as well. People can access them there. At the same time, in places where internet connection speed is not very high, so you can actually target a wider reach basis these.
If the brand is at a launch stage, it's a new product, new in a very competitive category, something like this, a short format will help in building brand recall, the brand name recall. However, if there's a brand which is also in a stage where it is a challenger brand and actually the brand needs to really talk only about its core benefits, perhaps it will give you a bit of a lift. So it's really about the brand life stage.
What makes a bumper ad disruptive is the fact that unlike usual advertising, one can't skip it. And that's not the only benefit.
Even on TV, we have done a lot of bumper ads, so they're called stings. So what we usually do is we'll follow up a 30-seconder kind of a campaign with a 5 or a 10-seconder ads on TV. So when you have built enough awareness about your campaign or your upcoming sale, then you just need a reminder at a good frequency. So that's where bumpers or sting ads come in really useful. I think for other players as well, if it's a sticky message, if it's a message more about a particular event wherein there's a reminder which is needed, I think that's where a short video format kind of strategy will work.
So you could also do education on other media. You can announce this new product format which people don't know in the 6-second bumper ad, and then you can send the people to a media like digital or properties like a Facebook page or a website or other platforms.
But like all great ideas, this concept too comes with some amount of limitations.
6 seconds is really too small. But surely it's a reminder medium that can be used, and hopefully we'll come out with creative ways to maximize the 6 seconds.
I think the challenge comes when you start working on a creative that's 30 seconds, and after having created it, then you're suddenly asked to make it 6 seconds. Now that's really unfair. But if you know that you have 6 seconds or even 4 seconds, creative people in the industry are very talented enough to make it work for any brand.
You can't say much. That's the one single thing. It can get very repetitive, very boring for the consumer if you decide, so therefore your media strategy has to be correct there. If you decide to just place your commercial 5-seconders and run it for the next 1 week, it doesn't work. The fatigue level will be very high.
While YouTube recently launched bumper ads, companies in the West, like Atlantic Records, realized the potential for this format to drive a strong lift in brand recall and awareness much earlier. In fact, GSK ran a 6-second skid ad back in 2014 for Horlicks, making it one of the earlier brands in India to do it.
Instant chocolate Horlicks, झट से घुल जाए और दूध की शक्ति बढ़ाए.
First thing we had in hand was an improved product which mixed in milk instantly in both hot and cold. So we had a very clear consumer insight. The second thing we had was, if you think about the message is pretty straightforward and simple, that Horlicks now mixes instantly. So what we wanted to do was, in digital as a medium, to look for how can this instant news be also delivered in a bit of an instant way. When in the first 5 seconds, when the consumer has the choice of skipping your main ad, that's the time when we've innovated and we've delivered the piece of news there. So let's say if 100 people were kind of there in that area of that video, all 100 of them, even before they skip, they are getting the news what you're trying to communicate. So in the case of Chocolate Horlicks, for instance, all 100 of them got to know that Chocolate Horlicks mixes instantly, right? That increases the interest of watching the full ad after that.
And of course, with so much data available and technological advancement, how could the e-commerce players not have got on board the 6-second format? But it's a different thing to specially create and execute these bumper ads, and another to crop the existing films to fit in.
Hotels. Have you booked yet?
I would say if you use edits from the same film, it works slightly better, because you've already built a lot of connect and relevance using a large film, and then consumer just sees a small edit and sees it more as a reminder, rather than building a new conversation altogether in a 5 or a 10 second. So having edits from the same big film usually helps.
When we have put exactly what we're putting everywhere else, that's one level of success. But what we've learned is that sometimes you have to actually put a lot of focus on the first few seconds of what you're serving. So in some cases we have experimented with actually changing the beginning of the video, and we've seen success on that, because if you can engage in the first few seconds, then you have much higher chance of a person staying with you, because remember, the control is in their hand and they can skip if they want.
It is only a matter of time before other advertisers too wake up to the need for this crisp and catchy form of brand communication and turn bumper ads into an industry practice, so that it's not just limited to the digital platform but also becomes a norm on television.
Deo, perfumes और t-shirt जैसी कई चीजों पर.
Talking of short ads, I think now would be a good time to take a quick break. But don't be gone for too long, as we have loads more on the other side. Stay tuned.